went to a conference. I got this hair. This is my first time wearing straight long hair in a while. Definitely stick it to my face. Let's see. Anywho, so I just wanted to make a video while I'm driving in the post-Snowmageddon. And so I don't know if I'm gonna attach this one to the previous video I tried to film. So basically I was saying, whenever I was younger, the single most characteristic of a woman's worth seemed to be her status as whether single or married. And for me, what I noticed that you weren't even invited to sit amongst the grown people and chit chat unless you were married. Once you married, it was like a rites of passage. You're officially an adult. And it seemed like I kind of chased after that my entire 20s and a couple of years into my 30s, and then I stopped because my biological clock kicked in at 29, where I was like, I want my baby. But in that, it never dawned on me, did I want the nuclear family, like a husband, a wife, and a baby? I knew I wanted a child at 29 and a half. At 28, just didn't do, meaning I didn't really care either way. And then when I was like 25, I was definitely banging down the door to get some birth control. I did not want a baby. And so I wanted to, and then so at 29 and a half, like exactly the day before my birthday, I watched the movie called Timer. And the last time I tried to find this movie, I could not find it. So if you can if you can watch Timer, basically it's where you have a timer that it's like a monthly subscription. They insert this device into your arm or your wrist, and it counts down, assuming that the other person got one too. It counts down to the moment you're going to meet your person, because I don't like saying soulmate, your person. And when I saw that, it was just like, it reignited me wanting to, find so-called my person. And what I have learned through my current journey is nothing is guaranteed, and that sense of entitlement that you're going to have your person unless specifically revealed, I just count it all in his will and count it all joy. There are times when I want God to give me the patience to be okay either way, because I'm okay. But sometimes you have those moments where you're like, oh, or you have to take a deep breath. But other times I feel at peace because I have peace. And I didn't know just how beautiful, when you are intentional about creating a peaceful household or creating a peaceful home, what that feels like. It feels like not having static. Like, even if there is static, you can go, like, you can retreat. Like, you have a space to revive yourself from the day's events. And so basically, just in reviewing all that, it just makes me happy to see that young people seem to be going into a space of self-reflection, or choosing themselves, or choosing to stay out of the arena until they're prepared and ready. And it seems like a lot of people, quite a few individuals are, and I don't know the statistics, exiting relationships that no longer serve them. And I don't know if that's, for me in my flesh, I say that's good if you're aspiring to peace. But then I don't know spiritually the connotation of I don't know. So yeah, like, I just don't have a lot to say except for the peacefulness that comes from the healing process. When you're intentional about certain things aren't working, I say stay the course, stay your peaceful healing journey. There's going to be moments, it's ebbs and flows. There's going to be moments that are harder than others. There's moments you're going to be like, you're going to want to default back to who you were. But don't come up off of your journey of learning yourself and becoming self-aware, because that's going to follow you in relationships anyway. So continue to figure out who you are so you can set those healthy boundaries. Not allowing friendships and partners to run all over you or stress you out, because that's what I'm enjoying about this. So if or when, or like however the process plays out, if I become a mom or become married, I'll know how to establish where I'm not worn out and like dragged through the ground. Because that was one of the things I noticed when I was in my 20s with my friends. It seems like they put everything else first versus getting their strength up. So like if you're in a good space, if you're eating, if you're working out, if you're doing all these things, you can have the strength for your children. And it's setting those time boundaries. But once again, when I was coming up, I'm just trying to think through like my grandparents and stuff, like it was the role of the woman to compromise. And I think that's what always gave me anxiety, is feeling like I was losing myself, or feeling like what I cared about and the things I wanted didn't matter. Like it was just like, you got to compromise for your husband, you got to compromise for those kids. And I always seemed in the back of my mind to have a sense of anxiety about all of that. That's why it never made me sad when things would fail or breakups would happen. It just always seemed like it was just this enormous amount of pressure, and I didn't understand why. In my mind, a relationship should come easily. It should be like a breath of fresh air. And it just seemed like mine were super pressured. Even if the guy was good, it just seemed like it was like, you need to compromise. You need to come see me. You need to be over here. It's like, it was always, I need you to do something. And that was across the board. And now that I've created like this peaceful home, I would want moving forward, and that's friendships or anything, a mutual level of respect. Like it should be a reciprocal process. Meet me in the middle. Like, I totally believe in the architecture of submission of women to men. I got that, but taking advantage or feeling entitled, it begins to erode boundaries. And then it then becomes something else. Anyway, well, have a good day. I'm off.